What's good, fellow outcasts and other rejects? Welcome to WTC, the Anime Outcast. First off, if you're new here, we upload anime what is based around My Hero and other shows alike. Secondly, do you know 80% of our audience is not subscribed? So in order for us to continue to make good content, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And now without further ado, let's get into the video. Our story picks up in a rather different place from where we left off. Izuku, accompanied by the Diamond Man, walks through the vast halls of the Plumber HQ. I can't thank you enough for this, Tetrax, sir, the new Plumber rookie mutters as he adjusts parts of his hero costume.
Don't mention it. And besides, it's better for you to come here where we understand your power than to some earthling who just wants to use you for it.
Tetrax explains, leading Izuku further into a more open part of the base. Now, most of you are probably asking, how did we get here? Well, it all stems from the email Izuku sent to Sakochi during the search for work study. The spacefaring officer contacted him earlier the following day, advising the Omnitrix wielder that the plumbers may accept him as a sidekick. Because of their ties to the Earth government, all the active agents of the plumbers with quirk-like powers are granted fake hero license. Given the same type of rank, this effectively evaluates them to the level of true pro-hero. As a result, a few agents formed an international agency to deal with threats undercover and without raising suspicions from the general public. And now back to the present, the two aliens make their way into the office section of the base. They stop at a large computer with multiple banks of monitors.
I know you're familiar with the League of Villains, but what about the Yakuza?
Tetrax asks, leaning against the main desk and in the face of a large console. It takes the green shapeshifter a second, but he explains his limited knowledge of the group.
Not much. They've basically been sidelined ever since quirks emerged. I'm not even sure if they're still a thing.
Most of Izuku's information on the crime syndicate comes from either movies or manga, though Tetrax remarks that he's not far off from the truth.
Close. Most of the bigger sub-factions split off each other as they were formed into different groups because of your species evolution. There is one in particular the plumbers are interested in.
The indestructible man explains before turning to use the oversized computer. He brings up a large photo of a group labeled the Shy Hisakai. All the men wear a bird-like face mask, but other than that, they share no common trait. The UA student takes a second to examine the image, coming to a quick conclusion.
I'm guessing they have some sort of alien technology, or links to an alien?
He thinks out loud, with his superior correcting him instantly. This Yakuza faction has recently been in contact with the League of Villains, meaning a trade of weapons could be likely.
That can't be good. Shigaraki probably has a stockpile of stuff from Vilgax somewhere. Maybe he's using it for influence, or to gain more members.
Izuku mumbles, thinking back to the multiple devices he encountered. If text started circulating among the villain groups, it could lead warlike conflicts.
Exactly. We've traced a shipment of arms and ammo to Ushu City. Considered finding that your first assignment.
The crystal-skinned skeleton declared, causing the sidekick to double-take. By Tetrax's words, the metamorph thinks he's going solo. But the last of his kind assures the trainee that he won't be alone. The plumber and his trainee don't depart in the city immediately, however, as they wait around till nightfall. When the two finally traverse through the neon-soaked streets, Izuku marvels at all the mildly exciting sight. Though Tetrax doesn't seem interested in any of the boldly lights, signs, or numerous food stands. His masked gaze only stayed on something for a few seconds at a time. Speaking of which, the Petrosapien wears a black and gray bodysuit made of an otherworldly material. It allows him to use his body's natural ability without damaging it. On top of that, the vital areas have extra padding with a utility belt around his waist. Lastly, he has his arcing plated helmet that keeps him completely anonymous. The metamorph finds this weird, as the indestructible hero could easily fit in on Earth.
That's a pretty good costume. Did the plumbers make it, or did you get it from a support company?
The changeling asks, curious about where the crystal creature got his armor. Tetrax takes a second to answer, seemingly composing the right words.
Oh, no. It's a modified suit from when I was younger. Didn't think I'd be wearing it again until I was stationed here.
The alien explains with a melancholy tone. Despite his tone change, Izuku asks a follow-up question.
When you were younger, does your home planet have heroes too?
The boy ignorantly asks, causing his mentor to freeze. Tetrax doesn't know how to answer, nor does he want to. Finally, after a few seconds of pause, however, he gives a half-hearted answer.
Not quite. It's a long story. Let's just say...
He then tries to say before a loud gunshot cuts him off. The two aliens double-take at each other before rushing off to find the source of the shot. After a brief minute of running, they find the scene without little effort. They're met by the heroes Fat Gum and Sun Eater, who both kneel on the ground with some random people surrounding them. As the BMI hero sees the two plumbers, he assumes they had been fellow pros and called out to them. Hey, one of the villains got away, and one of my rookies went after him. Can one of you make sure he's okay? He shouts while pointing in the direction they went, with the alien duo jumping straight into action.
Deku!
The diamond-skinned man goes to order. His plan was to get his sidekick to transform into his kin accelerant form and give chase. But before Tetrax can give the order, Izuku is already covered by a green flash and replaced by Alpha X. The two nod, with the speedster then rushing off to find the target.
My quirk. I can't activate it.
Sun Eater thinks out loud as he stares at his normal hand. This gets Tetrax's attention as he takes a knee next to Tamaki, requesting him to explain what happened. The hooded teen then removes a strange syringe-like bullet from his side, his eyes narrowing as he suspects it for its condition. Izuku blitzed through the tight-knit alleyways of Ishua City, finding the runaway villain and his sidekick with a matter of minutes. Kirishima, the blue reptile thinks to himself as he finds his friend triumphantly standing over the villain. Both the heroes and the petty criminal's clothes were ripped, with the surrounding covering in deep slashes. As Deku head jerks around to inspect the damage, the defeated gangster gets a second wind. He jumps to his feet and somehow propels himself forward by shooting out blades from his body. Thinking fast, the metamorph switches to his synapse to trap the blade-spawning man within a bubble of electricity. Midoriya? What are you doing here? Red Riot asks as he slowly approaches a crab alien, his shoulders low from exhaustion and his eyes wide.
I am just passing through due to an operation in the area, which my agency was undertaking. I presume this is where your agency resides?
The hyper-intelligent crustacean exclaims, with Aijiro somewhat understanding what he said. When the adults reconvene with their students, Izuku reverts back to his human form as he and Kirishima inform them of what happened. As they trade information, Tetrax pulls his new recruit aside to declare their mission a success.
Is that a bullet casing?
The student asks, staring at the needle-tipped round with interest. The syringe bullet hybrid seems to be empty, but it still holds the answer that they need.
Wait, shouldn't we turn that in the police?
Izuku frantically exclaims as the plumber proceeds to leave the area and return to base. This causes Tetrax to chuckle a bit before muttering,
The plumbers are the police.
Over the next few days, the quirk-negating bullet would be examined by multiple parties. The plumbers mainly spearheaded the investigation, but some agencies would join in after hearing of the incident. This jumpstarts the joint raid on the Shai Hisekai, with the Night Eye agency attempting to bring all interested heroes into the operation. Speaking of which, the aforementioned agency has taken on their own work studies recruit, Bakugou, though he wasn't as humbly accepted as his shape-shifting peer. Just make him laugh, and Sir will be happy to take you on, the ever-cheerful Mirio declares as he and Katsuki make their way inside the Pro Heroes headquarters. Make him laugh? Are you serious? Retorts the blonde grenade as he trudges behind Togeta. He may not seem like it, but Sir has a great sense of humor. If you want him to like you, you gotta show him that you have one yourself. Lemillion further explains, hoping to get Katsuki to see Sir Night-Eye's way of thinking. But the one-for-all vessel disregards the advice completely. That as the two students enter the esteemed hero's office, the volatile team starts regretting his choices.
What? What the actual fuck?
Bakugou mutters with his jaw almost hitting the floor. Inside the room, he sees one of Night-Eye's sidekicks strapped to a torture device to make her laugh. As the two blondes stand in the doorway, the slender hero just glares back with no emotion.
Mario, is that the Frenchman you mentioned?
Mirai mutters as he starts examining the new student that somehow wound up in his building. Takeda nods as his mentor begins to approach All Might's successor. Despite Night-Eye's intimidating stature, Bakugou's confidence does not waver.
Really? Is that it? No introduction, no speech, not even a joke.
The former sidekick berates, annoyed at Katsuki for just standing there.
You already know who I am. Why bother?
The living grenade snaps back as the pro hero gets a little too close for him, grabbing his face and examining it for a minute for minute details. Of course, Bakugou isn't one for human touch, so he pushes the Space Invader away. Three move over to Miria's desk, where the company owner starts explaining how the work-study would function. When it gets time to finalize the deal, Night-Eye prepares his stamp but seemingly misses the paper when he strikes. As Sasaki repeatedly stamps the table, progressively getting further away from the paper with each hit, he questions Bakugou.
And why should I hire you? What would you possibly offer me that I don't already have?
Simple! You get the next #1! How's that for reason?
The blonde Bombarda bluntly states as he keeps a solid gaze on Mirai. But as he feels the tension grow, Katsuki starts to take something out of his backpack. He then slams his ever-positive report cards, his sports festival medal, and other references on the table. But the pro hero doesn't seem convinced by the speech or his references, letting out a depressing sigh.
Well, your feats are impressive, but you've also a workplace safety hazard, so I offer you a challenge.
Night-Eye declares as he rises from his seat, staring down the brave, mostly cocky student. The challenge is to demonstrate himself. Bakugou must take the stamp from him within 3 minutes, and if he wishes to work out his company as a hero, he must stamp the contract himself to become his official intern. Though this clearly goes against what the lanky man just said, that's the point. The living cannon takes the challenge without even thinking, causing the two other heroes to rush out of the room before chaos ensues.
I'll be honest with you, Bakugou. I believe All Might only gave you one for all out of pity.
The slender hero mutters out loud as the UA student casts aside his waistcoat and rolls up his sleeves.
Bullshit! You're just jealous he didn't give it to you!
Katsuki retorts, with the formal remark hitting a soft spot. But deep down, a part of the explosive team does think Toshinori gave him the power out of pity.
Please, I'm no vessel for the power. Neither are you.
Saki snaps back as he prepares the stamp which the blonde needed. With his body enduring 12% of one for all, Bakugou blasts himself onto the ceiling before shooting off to smite Night-Eye down with an axe kick. Though without even looking at the student, the man moves out of the way. Seeing it as a fluke, Katsuki strikes again once he lands, lunging at Mirai to drive his knee into his chest. But just like the last attack, the pro hero dodges masterfully. With an odd feeling creeping down the injured team's spine, he blasts himself back and thinks of a new attack plan. As the one-for-all user moves back, Night-Eye gives his challenger a bit of advice. He explains a bit of his quirk, foresight, but leaves a lot of room for Bakugou to guess if it's time limits. So the blonde starts going through different methods to break down his enemy's power. First, he tries overstimulation, using small explosions and a bit of collateral damage to throw off the suited man. This had little to no effect on his visions. Then, he tries increasing his super strength to outmatch Night-Eye's speed, but this ended up changing nothing. So he does most of his other ideas, running him dry of creativity. until he thinks more about the way the stoic hero is fighting. It's like Night Eye is running on pure muscle memory, as whenever he calls out to him, he takes a few seconds to talk back. Bakugou positions himself in front of the preconditioned man, getting his back to face the door. Then he braces his uncharred arm as he prepares a supercharged explosion. The resultant blast would be enough power to tear through his wall and into the open lobby where Muriel and Bubblegirl were. "Wait, I yield!" the future-seeing hero exclaims, reluctantly throwing the stamp to the bombarder. Then, as Katsuki snatches the seal mid-air, he bursts out laughing. "Did you really think I'd do it?" Bakugou asks with a cocksure grin proudly on his face. Somehow he managed to trick a man who could see the future.
I see. My foresight doesn't let me hear the vision, though I doubt you knew. Despite that, you assumed I would see your drastic last act of attempt to avoid the damage. Not that I could have anyway.
Night Eye deducts while being genuinely impressed with the boy's creative problem solving, but as he reflects more on his defeat, something else catches him. Since he called Bakugou a work hazard, the explosion-themed hero only scorched the ground with his quirk and barely touched the essential materials in the office. Thanks again to the outcasts and rejects for watching till the end of the video. If this video gets 80 likes in 2 weeks, we'll continue this series. Other than that, if you have any questions about the series or channel, sound off in the comments or feel free to join our Discord. I'd like to do a little shout out to the fans of Der Zirkus. Keep watching and see you later.